So God, welcome everybody to this corrupted MC meeting. I apologize for my voice and coughing and stuff. I have a lot of sinus drainage, so it's kind of hard. And today, Kyle is going to be a moderator on the chat. So he'll be accepting people into the chat, voice chat, and all that stuff as we discuss certain topics. Oh my god. Eric, if you send me one more Facebook message, I'm going to ban you from this chat. So, I guess we can begin. If you guys didn't see the link to the agenda, it is there. And we're going to be sticking to that agenda. So, try your best to stay focused. I know many people on the server have a little ADD. So, I know how off topic we can all get. So, hopefully we can try to keep this on topic. Wait, whose mic is cutting in and out? Mine? Or is it bad?
I can hear you fine.
Yeah, I'm wondering why it's doing that. Well, I did kind of turn away from the computer for a second to look at something, so maybe that was it. Okay. So, I mean, this whole entire... I'm recording this right now. It's going to be posted on YouTube later, so anybody who felt like their opinion wasn't voiced, or anybody who just wants to go back and kind of reflect on everything and just post a comment at a later time, you always can. God. It's going to be on it's going to be on my YouTube channel. Basically replace tinychat.com with youtube.com, and you will, yeah, that's my channel. Thank you, Eric. So, I guess we can go ahead and start the show. So, the first thing that I'd really like to discuss is what is harassment on the server. Because, as we all know, this is a video game, and normally games are more, like, aggressive by nature. But there still should be a limit as to what can be done and said on the server. Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, pretty much I'm coughing up a lung.
You need to start smoking, Pat.
Okay, so pretty much, yeah, back onto topic. Based off of some articles that Judy sent me, and just thinking about it and talking to people, when it comes to harassment on the server, I figure that crap, I don't even know where I'm going. Pretty much there needs to be rules set, like clear definitions as to what are the limits to when people are going to be harassed. And I'm going to be typing out these harassment things on that website, Webcast agenda, that I posted the link to on Google Documents. And one big thing is once people are being attacked personally, I feel that that should be one big thing. Like, as soon as somebody starts calling another person a name, that's like, that's not right. Yeah, and like a lot of this is going to be based off of Scopsy's encounter with Legend Crafter and Jack, the builder, just because that was like probably the biggest example of what can be considered harassment. Yes. Anybody that wants to talk, just click Start Broadcasting on the top left, and then as the chat goes on, we'll start including you guys. So, one biggest thing is name calling, such as undesirables in Scopsy's case. So, I mean, I'll let here, James. I'm gonna let James and Judy talk about what they feel is harassment, because they felt like they were harassed on the server when it came to Legend Crafter and Jack the Builder. So I'll move the mic to them. Also, make sure that you're sharing just your microphones so there's less lag. Thank you. So whoever wants to talk first.
Testing.
All right,
Yay?
I can hear you.
Sweet. Excellent. Okay, well, I think the first thing that I wanted to mention was whether or not occurred between Legend Crafter, his allies, Scopsy, was harassment or not. I think an important point is that we didn't address it to him. We didn't talk about whatever issues we were having with him first. Admittedly, most of the time that we were interacting, it was pretty much just killing us. But we sort of bypassed first trying to talk about the issue with the party involved, and then went directly to our holy overlords. So I think that one, we addressed the situation was that, yeah, I'm not talking about his ban. I'm just discussing in general how we should have addressed the harassment differently. I definitely think that it was, but I think we didn't go about it properly. So I think that no matter how we're going to, I guess, quantify it, we need to have a policy that says you need to try and work it out with the party who's harassing you first. That way it doesn't cause a bunch of work for the admins.
Leave the door open so you can
No one's talking right now.
So you're saying that you think the two parties should make sure that they interact with each other first before they go on and with things?
Yeah, definitely. I think that in our case, we didn't, like I said, we didn't really talk with them at all. It was more just straight up fighting and everything. And obviously that, based on his current record isn't going to fix anything. So when it came to our personal fight, we should have discussed it before we, pressed harassment charges, if you'll pardon my real-world. No, we didn't hear anything you said. Judy, I think if you press, you have to enable your mic. Hang on, I'll help you. I definitely think we need to talk with the party first.
I mean, that's why we have factions, so you guys can kind of handle things on your own, and then if that gets out of hand, then the admins step in. And Judy, you might want to hit stop broadcasting and then try hit start broadcasting again. And there's different options for your mic. Maybe you have it set on the wrong thing.
No, do I have to?
There you go.
Now?
Yes.
Okay, I thought you could just push the talk button and didn't realize you had to actually hold it in. My concern was what I said earlier, and I agree that you try to work it out yourselves first, but that didn't occur, and we don't want to overburden any of the admins. You guys are busy enough, and you've got a lot on your hands and plate, and but that situation was different because it was consistent, it was done over time, and that's what constitutes.
I have myself muted right now.
Literature on it. Legend had a very long history of attacking Scopsy. He just was relentless, and that's what really concerned me. It escalated into a very personal thing and became more and more violent. And those are the things that really, really concern me because it wasn't nipped in the bud, and I believe that there should be some kind of time limit.
So, if a faction war goes on too long, we should do something about it?
Yeah.
I believe, there should be some kind of measure in place. I'm not saying for sure that the admin should, but there should be, as Pat said, of procedures. You can call them rules if you want, but it's more of a procedure that, if this occurs, then you go to step 2. If this occurs, you go to step 3 or whatever. But I do believe that something needs to be in place in order to prevent that from happening again.
So you're thinking like almost as if we had a CorruptedMC United Nations to manage all the factions, like as though they were individual nations?
No, I think I talked to Rob Miller about this, and he suggested, based off of another game, there's a rule called a bashing rule, and basically you can only attack another person for X amount of time. So I planned on, if I'm able to, make a plugin where when you have to declare war on another faction, it'll keep track of how long you've been attacking that other faction. And if you're attacking them for too long or whatever, I don't know if it'll just kick you or it'll just make a report saying so-and-so's been attacking so-so for longer than needed.
That's doggy food.
And somebody's requesting to join the chat. Let me see who it is. Alright, Rob Miller wants to talk about it, so I'm going to let him join the chat. Alright, go ahead and talk, Rob, whenever you want to, since you know more about that bashing rule.
Hello?
Alright, we can hear you good.
Is that working, or is it...
Yeah,
Turn it down
works.
a little bit. Okay. Well, it was part of an old game called O-Game, and basically, for that game, you could only attack for 6 hours in a 24-hour period. Or 6 times.
Hey, Rob. Is there any chance you could pull back a little bit from your microphone?
I asked to see if it was bad.
Yeah, it's extremely loud.
I'll keep it far away from me. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. But yeah, basically it was O-game, and you could only attack 6 times in a 24-hour period. And any time past that, you were banned for bashing, and I think it was permanent. I don't know if you have to be that excessive, but whatever you guys want to do with that.
Not a bad idea, especially considering that the big problem with our fighting against Legend and his friends. Oh, that's echoey. But anyway, the big problem about that was that we couldn't be on 24/7. So it was unreachable by the end, and that was the biggest problem that we were having. So I think that would go a long way towards fixing it.
I definitely think that's a viable solution. I like it, and we could try it and always adjust and rethink things as we go along. But something definitely we have to start somewhere. Something has to be.
And to address Jack's assertion here that most of the planning wasn't done by Legend, I refer to the attacks as being done by him because he initiated them when the 1.8 server. So I, by default, just attribute all of them to him because he was the ringleader back then. So if it's inaccurate now, understand that that's where I'm coming from with that statement.
And I don't want, sorry to kind of butt in here, but this isn't a finger pointing right now, Jack. Right now we're just discussing not letting this happen again to anybody. So we're not talking about, finger pointing, who did what. It's a moot point by now. That's all in the past. And we need to focus on not allowing this to happen again. And that's really what we need to discuss.
Also, right now we're talking about the main subject of harassment. Right, there you go. And then the next thing in the discussion is over Legend Crafter and his punishment, and I guess it could be Jack's as well at the same time.
That's a great idea. The only thing I have to say to that is, who would monitor it? Are we going to try and find some type of plugin that restricts how long you can attack someone?
Well, the plugin won't restrict them, but it'll just keep better track of who's attacking who. And if somebody doesn't report them going to war with somebody else, we'll make a punishment of some type for that kind of situation.
Okay, I like that.
So how exactly would we... Is it like after you kill someone or a member of the faction for a certain number of times? I'm thinking from an actual technical perspective. I mean, it's not as though you declare, I am attacking right now, and then let Minecraft put down in a log that you attacked, because it's a more fluid game. So how would we get that so that it could tell the time that you're attacked? Would it be by kills? I don't know.
I make it so that if you kill a faction member, of one faction, and you kill them in their home territory, that might be declared an act of war.
And also, I don't know if it was actually the people being killed that was the main issue at the time. I think wasn't mainly the fact that the base was damaged. The amount of damage done in that amount of time was the main issue.
Yeah.
So they kept attacking James and Sarah over and over and over again. They'd come back on and continue attacking them, killing them. It was over and over and over again.
Okay.
So what happens if I don't attack your faction, or I don't kill you at all, but you died X amount of times and you have a negative power and I destroy your faction? Then what?
Yeah, that's really
unfortunate. I don't know. It's when you're talking about war. I mean, And in real life, obviously, it's much different than a video game, but war in itself isn't peaceful or, good to one person or another at times.
Could this be determined by, like instead of just killing, but the power level is going down too? Is there some way to maybe use a multifaceted approach instead of using one variable to determine what is harassment with, within 6 hours you were attacked so many times and then it did not stop? Is there a way to include other variables as well, or is that too complicated?
It might be too complicated. I don't know. I would have to look at that and see.
I think really the only thing that we could log would be PvP kills. I don't know if we could do like damage to territory.
Okay, what about power levels going down? Is there any way to include that too, or?
I mean, if you fall off a mountain, you die, you lose power. That doesn't necessarily have to be done by another person.
Yeah, but I meant to see it working in conjunction with, like, could it see both of those things happening at the same time so that it knows, or, I don't know. I guess I'm making it too complicated.
Yeah, and that's why I figured we can make it more the people initiate the wars, because there are a lot of different variables that can be considered an act of war.
One thing I just thought of is it logs in the chat that someone declares war, right? At least to maybe like the mods or admins. Is that correct?
Can you say that again?
Doesn't it log in like your chat logs that someone declares war?
I mean, it shows when you F enemy someone, but I mean, some people just F enemy for like the heck of it. So it would just
maybe
be.
what I was thinking is people could not do that so much and like only have like /F enemy and then have that only last for 6 hours maybe per day, and then it stops.
Or is there a way to put /F, war instead? Because you can be enemies with a faction, you just do not get along, and you know that it's just going to keep happening. But if you actually go to war, you're not taking action, but once you take action, you would declare war. So is there a way to do like F declare war?
We didn't make that plugin. I don't know if Pat would be able to edit it to create more commands, but we didn't make that.
I'll say I would probably hook into the factions plugin and make my own separate plugin that just utilizes parts of faction to make that happen. So yeah.
And I apologize for my voice being froggy, but I seem to have the same thing James does. So I hope you guys can hear me all right.
Well, I'm using my brother's Turtle Beach, which obviously the mic is a little overpowered, so I have it like across my desk.
So are we in agreement that we need to perhaps modify the current plugin in order to have factions declare war, and that way we know when it starts, and then B, the system would kick in that after 6 hours, if you do not stop, it would reprimand you somehow, and that could be determined at some point in time. And that we all agree that harassment occurs when you are being attacked consistently over time, and that's the impetus for all of this, correct?
I agree. There definitely does need to be some sort of way to counter long periods of war. Definitely.
Yeah, and we definitely have to make sure that nothing is personal. We have to definitely keep the personal aspect out of any fighting PvP on the server.
And then if it does get personal, then there should be a procedure for reporting to, use your hierarchy. Certain people on your ranked team, on your admin team, maybe not go directly to Pat so that everybody's, bugging him all the time, but, delegate and say, okay, these people are responsible. If you feel that there is a problem and it's turning personal, you need to first turn to person A, and then if that doesn't work, then person A will go to person B and talk about it or something to that effect.
Well, I just jumped on Minecraft real quick to look. On our board at spawn, rule number 3 says be respectful to admins, mods, and other players. So personal harassment would be applicable to that rule.
I agree.
So I believe if someone makes it personal, then it should be up to the mods, admins, or Pat to decide whether that's, at the time, whether that's harmful enough that they deserve a ban. And if they do, or a mute, the way it's got to be. Like, if it's punishable, then that's how it ends up.
Yeah, I think one thing is a couple of the people, I don't remember exactly who it was, but during that period of time were harassing a member. I think Dustver was especially targeted because he goes to school with the people who were attacking us, and they were, verbally attacking Christian. Yeah, sure, whatever. Dustver is his in-game name, and anyway, he was being mouthed and everything, and I believe somebody else who was on at the time were muting the perpetrators and then kicked them several times until they went with the God, why am I losing my focus here? But until they followed that rule, yeah, because they were being disrespectful, and then we decided that it was going over the line. So from there, we just muted them. So I think that in that case of personal, very personal harassment, it was taken care of well. Whatever problems you had at school could stay at school. They don't have to be carried onto the server in a public arena.
Agreed. The reason we have factions in the first place is so players can fight out their problems, and there would be less weight on the admin shoulders, on the mod shoulders. You guys could take care of things yourself. But as you guys have seen, people have been unhappy with what's been going on, especially with the people that have been attacking Scopsy. But
well,
actually,
sorry.
Go ahead, Judy.
I was going to say, our server has many little communities, like, our players here in Northeast Ohio and those over by where Jack is. I'm not going to say his location, and Dustver and, that gang, and then, others. We have these little circles of communities, and sometimes friends have it out in real life, and they do take it out on the server, and that's fine. I agree with you. And as long as there's something in place that prevents them from taking it to the degree, then it's a safe place to kind of work out your issues. And I've seen firsthand people will argue, and then about an hour later they kind of settle down and they're best buddies again. So I agree that that's a really good thing, as long as we have those safeguards in place so that it doesn't get carried away. And, and they have to understand, I know there are a lot of younger players on here, very young players, and part of the learning process is that, what happens at school, you might bring it over to the server a little bit, but you can't take it to the extreme and cause so much heartache and turmoil to so many people. Keep it between the two of you.
Well, first of all, I don't know about heartache or anything like that. It shouldn't happen in a video game, period. That's not really what it's meant for. You're meant to have a good time and have some fun. Just, like, back to the theme again, once it gets personal is when the issue arises.
I agree, and I was quite upset that it became so personal, and it shouldn't. It is a video game, and unfortunately, it is difficult sometimes for players to remember that it is a game and it's not real life, and you really need to keep those separate. If they're having issues at school, then they really need to keep that at school. But it's hard, especially when you're younger. So it's our responsibility, being older, some of us adults, some of us near adults, to kind of keep that in check. I think that the new measures that will be put in place will really, really help to do that.
Well,
Jack, do you feel...
a lot of the people that were being harassed didn't even know what was going on at the time. They would log on, and then the people who were attacking us just started throwing insults in their direction, and it got really personal, and they had no idea what was going on. And I didn't think that it was fair because they had no idea what was going on, and it was really unnecessary. And they brought the fight to other people who weren't really directly involved. So.
Well, how about we just sum it up in one word, saying, or one phrase, that any kind of verbal harassment is against the rules.
I think it should definitely be against the rules.
I agree.
I think that's the whole point that we're getting to, right? Anything verbal that's abusive or harassment, at least in that respect. So you can go on to anything else, like actual blocks or whatever, or people in the game. But anything texted in the chat, first of all, is an offense if it's harassment or abusive.
I don't know about the mods, but I can tell you right now that if Pat, myself, or Chad were on, and we see anyone swearing or harsh language to another person, even if there wasn't swear words in what they were saying, if they were just, bashing on someone, we would do something about it. And I hope the mods, as they've proven that they've done before, do the same thing.
Yeah, and I know, sometimes people go back and forth and they kind of joke with each other, and it might appear to be harassment, and that's going to be up to the mods and admins to determine, and Pat, to determine, is it joking around or has it crossed the line? And, maybe just kind of private message them and say, hey, are you okay with this? Are you guys just joking around, or is this something that we need to be concerned with?
Do you guys think we should get more strict in the area of how people talk to one another, and especially swearing, because we have been fairly lenient on the cursing?
When it comes to swearing, I'd like to be a bit more strict, but I do plan on re-implementing the one chat plugin that modifies some features of the chat, because I want to get the IRC channel running soon, and I know that has the swear filter, so yeah, we're going to be adding the swear filter soon, and hopefully that will cut back on the swearing. But it's as far as swearing goes, if you just swear once just because something happened and it's just instinct, I mean, I can understand that, But if it's just like twice in a row or something, you're gonna get like kicked or something. But if you just keep going and going and going and going, you're gonna be muted, or you might be banned for a day. It's just it needs to be just cut back some.
By the way, I was wondering on moderator and admin policy for excessive language and harassment over chat. What's a good number of times to mute and then kick and then ban period lengths to do that? Because I think we were doing a 5, 10, and then 20-minute mute and then kick them, and then I don't think it got any farther than that. But I was wondering what an appropriate procedure would be.
Well, I don't know if Kyle wants to go, but what I was kind of thinking is excessive language is obviously wrong. So if we're just going to stick with excessive, I'm thinking maybe mute once, kick once, then ban for a week, or maybe just a day, ban for a day, then a week, and then so on.
Mikey just posted something in the chat, and it seems to be fair enough. I mean, just muting 5 minutes and then 10 minutes, 15, 20, 30 hour ban, day ban. I mean, we might even shorten that, because I mean, if they were muted 3 times, by then they obviously don't care about the rule or some other reason. So they might just need to be kicked off the server for a good hour. Maybe give them a chance to calm down about whatever they're swearing about.
Well, I think that's really great because sometimes it does get really obnoxious. And, I don't mind, you can't, like one of you said, you can't help but swear once in a while, and I know some people just do that more often than others, but to do it consistently or just to be a little smart aleck, that's different, and there should be a way to do that. And I've been online when Mikey has done that, and he's very consistent with it, and it seems to work pretty well. They do either calm down or they keep them gone, so it does work well.
Yeah. If I'm online and I see someone swear, if I see Creeper, and I see him swear once, I don't even say anything to him. I don't even look at it twice. But if I see someone, for instance, swearing at someone else, it was just an example, Kyle. If I see anyone swearing at another person, I will say something to them in chat. Or if I see the same, especially if you see the same person swear, for instance, twice, and both times you can see without scrolling up, that's when I'm going to say, hey, relax, try not to swear so much. And if they swear again, they're deliberately swearing what you just told them, calm down, and I would kick them as a warning. And if it continues, that's when I would start with an hour ban or a day ban.
Well, Polar actually print screened or screen capped something earlier, which definitely would show when someone should be muted or banned. He didn't post it on Facebook for some reason, but there was this kid, who was mad in Scholars or something, so he decided to say the F word without a space at about 6 or 7 times, and there wasn't a mod or anything on to do anything about it, but obviously if there was, that would be an obvious reason to mute them or kick them, whatever.
Oh, I just remembered something. Guys, you can swear in faction chat. So, I mean, if you in party chat. So if you really need to have the urge to just type out a whole bunch of crap, you can do that in faction chat. Just don't do it in the public chat where everyone can see. Because more than likely, if you're in a faction, a lot of the members are your friends or something, so you can do it there.
I agree with that. If I see someone swear in faction chat or any of the non-public chats, I typically don't say anything at all.
Yeah, that seems very fair. You know, if you want to do that with your buddies or whoever you're talking with, then that's fine. But yeah, keep it off the public channel. Definitely keep it off the public channel.
The only time I would maybe say something is if one of the other faction members or one of the other persons in that chat seemed offended in some way, then I may say something, but that would be the only time.
Well, and that person needs to speak up and say, hey guys, you know, let's tone it down a little bit, getting a little too much here, and then, you know, hopefully that would keep you from having to intervene too much. I'm just trying to keep you guys from having to overwork yourselves. You do a great job.
All right. To kind of not make this meeting too long, I think we have a pretty good idea about what harassment is and how we should be more careful when it comes to the chat.
So are we going to move on to the, you know, because it kind of leads into Legend and the ban with that too?
Yeah, I think we can move on with that. Is there anybody that's in chat right now that feels like they might not really say anything about the next topic? And if so, could you stop broadcasting? Because I know Kyle says that more people that are broadcasting their stuff, even if you're muted, it adds lag to his computer. And I'm sure it might be happening to other viewers as well. So.
Well, if we're moving on to the next topic, then I would like to stay on the verbal chat.
I would too, and I'll probably leave after that.
All right.
I think someone actually needs to be on his side.
Yeah. Jack, I mean, if you have a microphone, and you want to talk about Legend Crafter's ban or Kyle X, since I know you're friends with them, you guys can.
The only thing that I have to say is we already banned him for a month. I think Legend Crafter should stay banned exactly how he is. And Pat, would you like me to get off the chat?
Well, that month-long ban was for something entirely different. That was for griefing.
And then he got on and griefed again.
Yeah. It was for griefing a server build, though, not a faction.
A faction's perfectly legal, technically, to grief.
I know, he was banned this time, I thought, for harassment.
Well, at the time...
I wasn't sure on whether or not he should stay banned, because we weren't really completely official on everything that was going on.
Well, the main deal there, then... Well, we're not going to get back on harassment, Kyle. The thing is, the rule was not made beforehand. Now that it is, I think he could come back just because he can't do it again, because the rule's in place. So, if he does it again, then obviously he gets his just punishment.
But he also stole from the dig, and that was the second time. He knew, because, you know, he's the reason the rule was put in place and enforced. And so he knew, and yet he chose to steal again from the dig. And then the harassment. My concerns with Legend, I think he should stay banned, but my only concern is that he'll end up with an alt account and do the same thing, but just under a different account. And so I think that it's the only way that I feel that he should be allowed to be back on is to be put into a peaceful faction who is completely in charge of him, and I don't know if anyone wants to take on that responsibility. And then if he breaks any rules at all, that's what he's done.
Well, for one thing, I don't know why a faction was keeping server build materials in their faction. I think the two should be divided. That's not right to me, because no one else has that privilege.
What faction was holding server build materials?
I believe so, from what I've heard. It was inside the chest room of Scopsy, correct?
It was
that was the case through Pat.
Grief. It was only a temporary storage because the grief had been griefed so many times. It was approved by Pat that we could come with the value of our castle because it was supposed to be a lot safer there.
Well, obviously it wasn't.
Yeah, we okayed that before that was done, and so that's why it was done. And it was so many times the chest room had been griefed at the dig that it was a better option to keep it there until we could come up with a better solution of storing those valuables at the dig where they belong. And they were always kept separate from our stuff. They were never intermingled. The same with the picks that are used at the dig. Everything that belongs at the dig and is used at the dig is separated from everything else of our faction. It's not intermingled.
Not to mention that Legend wasn't the only one. Sorry, Mom. Legend wasn't the only one who had griefed the dig. It was several other people as well that had done it previously. So we kept everything separate so that people wouldn't be able to grief it as easily.
All right. Okay. Can I voice my opinion on this real quick?
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay, so my opinion on the matter is a little bit complex. I think that, as I think it was Rob pointed out, Legend Crafter didn't technically break any server rules that were in place at the time, and therefore keeping him banned, I think, is an injustice. So I don't think that. I think that right now, keeping him banned until now was perfectly fine, since that was really the only way to situation without causing things to escalate even farther. But Legend Crafter really didn't break any rules that were in time, and I think that based on that, he should probably be allowed to come back. Now, I think on the dig materials at Skopje, those were clearly labeled in a chest as belonging to dig, so theft of anything that was there was obviously in violation of the rule, because that was the only way to proceed at the time, although I believe we've worked another system now. So Legend Crafter will be repealed, and hopefully our new system is going to work out a little bit better to prevent this sort of thing from happening in the future.
I agree with James in that if Legend is going to be banned, it should not be because of what he did for his previous griefing of the dig. But, I mean, they did take materials and destroy materials that were from the dig that were clearly marked at our castle, so if he is going to be, I don't know, convicted for griefing the dig, then it would not be anything that had to do with his previous ban. It would be anything that was taken from our castle at the most recent griefing.
Well, the thing is, the materials at the dig, whether they're safe or not, doesn't matter because it is a server build and people have Hawkeye. So if anyone did take materials for whatever reason without asking first or anything like that, they should be taken or they should be banned regardless. There should have been no reason for anything to be stored at a castle because there are already rules in place to stop or to reprimand anyone from doing anything anyways.
Well, the problem with that in the past has been that those materials have been either destroyed or given to other people or traded, and then they're gone. So there's no way to recover them. There's absolutely no way. And, you know, we all know that it's pretty tough to get things like gold and diamond and things like that when you're digging, and so only the valuables, the things that had a lot of value, were moved, and So that, and again, maybe hindsight is always 20/20, but at that time, that was the best option.
Well, not saying you did anything, because I'm sure you didn't, or any of you guys did, but, well, if things were at your faction, who's to say that you didn't use such materials for your own faction rather than for the server build?
We were the ones who initiated the server build anyway. We never used any of the materials for our own faction's needs.
He's not saying that we did. He's not saying that we did. I think he's just pointing out that it's a bad policy in general.
Oh, okay, sorry. I know that it wasn't probably the best solution at the time, but it was the one that we saw was probably going to be the most efficient, because we had a lot of materials stolen and then they were destroyed and we had no way of recovering them, and so we kept them at the castle so that they would be safe. That's the only reason that we did it, was because we didn't have a better solution at the time.
Yes, and I think we're getting off topic. The topic is, should Legend be banned, and not where material should be stored if it's a server build material. And my concern with Legend is that he has shown an escalating propensity of violence and harassment toward other players. And I've talked about this with Pat, I've talked about it with James and Sarah, and I've seen that he just continues to escalate in his manner, and I'm really, really concerned about that. I'm very concerned about that.
All right. I want to listen to Jack for a second. Excuse me. So, Jack, whenever you're ready, go ahead and talk. No.
No, we can't hear you. You have to press the talk button at the top. You have to press and hold.
Jack, on the top left of the screen, you should see stop broadcasting, share, and then a talk button. If you hold that talk button, you should be able to, you have to hold it down to broadcast your voice. No, we can't hear anything. Kyle, Zig, if you know what Jack is going to say, do you care to just relay the information? Okay, Jack, right now it says that you have a microphone plugged in and you're trying to talk, but it's like very minimal, like as if it's only background noise.
No.
It actually had his mic in. It looked like it. Like there. It shows the mic symbol on my screen. Like echoing.
There should be a talk button that's right next to the share and stop broadcasting buttons in the top left. You have to hold it in to talk.
Unless he just set it to open microphone, then it'll just say mute. Jack, at the very top right of this screen, you'll see the gear for settings. Just to the left of that, you'll see a microphone. Click that and see what the microphone is going into.
Sorry, everybody, for the technical difficulties. This discussion will resume shortly.
Thankfully, my allergies are all over, so I don't have to deal with it anymore. It's great.
Oh man, I wish my allergies were
Does
not
this
out.
work now?
Yes,
You're good.
yes.
I can hear you.
Gotcha. What do you need me to talk about?
Legend.
Yeah, legend. And why he should be unbanned.
Oh, what? Legend?
Yeah.
You want him banned or unbanned?
I could care less. I mean, he's bullied a lot at school.
Alright, but remember, this is on the server. This isn't...
Well, he
this
kind of
shouldn't be a
needs the
personal...
server as a backup system.
But taking your problems out on other people because you're bullied isn't a solution.
We're not talking about me. We're talking about him.
Yeah, I am too.
Again, he needs a backup system.
Well, that doesn't... I mean, that doesn't make any... Let me try and put this as best as I can. It doesn't really matter where his outlet is, but it can't be towards other people. Harassing others because you're harassed is unacceptable, whether it's in real life or on a gaming server. He needs another solution. That's not something that we can... I mean, I think it's important that he gets help for that, but it's not something that he should be taking out on other people. It's whether he... I agree that he should definitely... Anybody in that situation should have a backup or a release, but that harassing others is not the right way to go.
Mine is definitely people in video games, basically. Like hordes of AI. That makes my life so much better. Just saying.
Personally, Matt and I have different lives. Well, his name's Matt. I'm in the preppy group of my school. He's at the really low class. So, if you know what happened to Zach, I mean, obviously it's kind of heard of on the server. He's tried to do that a couple times. So he if you limit his harassment problems, he should be unbanned because we don't want what happened to Zach. I mean, I don't want to have to log onto the server again someday just for a brief minute and tell everyone that Matt committed suicide. So.
Well, the situation with Zach was entirely different. That was not because of bullying. But I do understand where you're coming from. But I have to agree with James in saying that taking out your frustrations on other people is not an acceptable outlet. And if he is being bullied, that there are people that he can go to and he doesn't need to be violent about it. He can just, seek support. And
which is why I say we should limit his harassment.
If he is at the point of trying to commit suicide, then he needs to talk to somebody, and, he needs a friend to talk to. And attacking people and trying to be noticed on the server, he's not going to get positive attention if that's what he's seeking. If he comes to the server and asks
an outlet, and again, I do see what you guys are saying, how harassment and all that stuff. But if you guys limit his harassment, then yeah.
I think the only person who can limit his harassment is himself. I think is the problem.
What he needs to do is he needs to just talk to somebody rather than attack them. If he is in that situation, then it's kind of hard for me to put into words, but if he wasn't so violent on the server, then we would be here for him to talk to.
If he's being harassed at school, he really needs to discuss that with counselors at school. I know in Ohio there are very strict policies about bullying and harassment, and he really needs to go to the counselor and discuss that, or with a teacher that he trusts, and discuss that, because especially if he is in the lower classes, those kids tend to get bullied a bit and teased, and it's a very real problem in the school system. I know because I work in one. So that's where he really needs to focus his attention on resolving those issues. And I agree that the server can be a place for you to release those pent-up anxieties and issues, but not when it's escalating and consistently going after people. And I again am very concerned about the escalating violence and tendencies of legends. So if it's as bad as you say, Jack, he really needs to get some professional help.
Well, what the crap he has to deal with is, I feel the same way. I deal with crap at home every day. But the crap he takes at school, he comes home, tries to get his stress out on this game, something turns bad or anything, then he starts acting all violent. So it's not just his violence, he needs fuel to escalate to the violence thing. Like when I attacked Scotty and Outcast and that stuff, people and things on the server made me do those things, like Matt did. If you knew him, he's not a war type person, but he's not a pacifist either. So.
Well, the thing is, it's not about, as much as, if his life is hard or something, it's not about that. We're talking about the game, so we're actually mainly talking about whether he should be banned or not, so we're really getting off topic. But I really don't see how the two correlate in this situation.
Agreed, and our server is kind of unique because we are very supportive. We're a very different kind of community, and we all do support each other and try to help each other. So, I don't.
Well, I would like to comment on that. Days I've had family, I've tried coming on the server and talking to people. Everyone's just going on and on and on about the dig and all other Vanguard stuff. And then I get completely ignored. Matt gets ignored. Only way to actually get some attention and some person per se thing on the server is to threaten to blow up Scopsy. And then we attack and then everyone starts out. Finally we have the attention. We need to start talking to people, but
well, attacking people isn't going to give you any kind of positive attention that you want. If you want to talk about that, then, there are people on the server that you can talk to.
No, the problem was there wasn't. He was willing to talk to either of us. So, we had to get, even if there was negative, attention, we had to talk somehow. So, the only way to do that was to do something big, per se. And we did do something big, and then whenever we talked, obviously someone would listen. So once we were going to make peace with Scopsy, we were going to start, people would actually notice that we were there, so.
Just to clarify, many months ago, when all of this started, there weren't any attempts to discuss any of this stuff. It was always, and somebody said earlier on the text field, I quote, everybody is always attacking Legend. The problem is that in reality, he's always attacking everybody. It's always been him first, from the day that he joined. And I think that if he would have tried first, and the same goes for you and anybody in general on the server who has an issue that they wish to discuss, if you try to do it by discussion first, then we're going to be a lot more helpful than if you make yourself an enemy and then you ask for redemption. It's unfortunate. I realize that sounds kind of absurd, but when you approach it from a peaceful perspective first, then you're going to have more luck.
Yes, we did. We tried talking to you guys, but again, you guys wouldn't listen, and we have done multiple attempts, but of course, you guys are too busy thinking about a stupid dig than talking to us about problems, so we had to actually do things.
Hey, Jack. Could I have the mic for a second here? Did you go on CorruptedMC.net and try and get one to talk to you? Did you go on the Facebook page or the Twitter and ask for help?
Not at first. I mean, family problems and everything.
Was one of the people who actually talked to Zach before he killed himself. And so every person has choices to make, and when you make those choices and you go forward with this action, that's your decision. It's not ours, so you can't blame us. We are there, and again, that's what makes our server a very interesting community. But the point of this conversation is not really that. Should Dungeon Crafter be banned? And he can't blame other people for his problems.
And everything for everyone to see.
He chose to do these things. He chose to do them. So we have to look at the big picture and see if he truly did break rules. He has been banned for a while. What are our concerns about the future? That must come into play. What are our concerns based on his history for the future of him playing on the server? And we have to keep in mind not just Legends' well-being, but everybody's. And he really has created a lot of turmoil over the course of his tenure on the server, not just to us, but to many, many other people. So I think all of those things need to come into consideration.
Hold that thought. I gotta go eat early pretty quick. Kyle X can talk in replace of me. I'll let you know when I'm back on.
Okay, guys, can everyone hear me? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Well, I personally think that Legend should be able to pick under certain conditions. Kyle, I'm sorry, one sec. But, I do agree with the whole attacking Scopsy being harassment and stuff like that. I think that's what I missed. But, I have problems and stuff too, and yeah, I guess me and him are kind of relatable because I do occasionally go on the server rampages and stuff like that. It's helpful. Everyone listens to you here, but, burning things is pretty fun too. And I think Legend should be able to come back under certain conditions, preventing him from attacking so often. Because, I mean, it is the rules. You can't have war on people. And I personally don't see how he broke anything. And if he gets banned for that, then why can't me or George be banned?
Well, I just think that, I'm not trying to say that it's an excuse, but I know a lot of people that have been bullied. I know I've been bullied too, but I don't take my frustrations out on the server or on other people. I just think that it was kind of uncalled for and that he just needs to be able to control himself a little bit better.
Yes, but I mean, under certain conditions. I'm not saying the first thing he should do is blow everybody up. I mean, personally don't like seeing factions completely destroyed. I think he should help people as much as he destroys them, in a way. Kind of like I do, but, I mean, it definitely helps with frustration, and it is a survival server. You have to, I mean, I like Scopsy, I started it, kind of, but, I mean, you gotta take your losses with the wins and stuff like that. I mean, my faction's been destroyed plenty of times by plenty of people because of all the crap I've done. And, I mean, I've rebuilt. I think Jack should get a chance. And I also understand that there were times when he wasn't attacking anybody but Scopsy. He was doing, little damage, nothing much, just all show. But then people would go and blow up every faction he had. And Legend's faction was gone within 2 days every time. And I mean, he would build these castles and everything. I know because my other account was in it, I was there. I personally didn't touch anything, but in a way, he was being harassed as much as everyone else.
Well, that's why I said earlier that the only way that I feel he should be allowed on is to be in a peaceful faction, and that way he cannot attack anyone. He's forbidden, or that's it. Ban his IP. He'll be done. And put him in there, give him a mentor, someone who will, kind of lead the way and show him that, there are better ways to take out these frustration, work out these issues. And that way, if he does, that would be the only way he could come back. And if he does break the rules first time, that's it. He's done. But I am concerned about the amount of violence that he has shown. And, we all like to help each other on this server. That's one of the great things about it. But by restricting him to a peaceful faction with one person to more or less be in charge of him, then that might be the only solution to letting him back on.
I don't really know why he should be singled out. I mean, technically anyone, as long as they're not in a peaceful faction, can do anything to anybody. So just because he likes to destroy factions and that kind of stuff, I don't really see how that means he should be punished for that.
Well, the thing is, he's been, you guys were talking about giving him a second chance. Well, he's been given a lot of chances before. I know when we've been in wars with Legend beforehand, we tried to make peace with him, and he completely ignored it, and then just started attacking us again. And, if he is going to get allowed back on the server, if he is in a peaceful faction, I honestly don't think that he would even stay, because he said that he likes playing Minecraft only to destroy things, and the other servers that he plays on, he only causes chaos, and that's what he likes, is to cause chaos, and I don't know.
Well, even Pat said that he's never had a ban yet, so at least on MC bans and that kind of stuff.
But, there's a lot of people on the server who do that. I personally have went around and destroyed almost every faction at least once. So, granted, his is a little bit extreme in attacking the bigger factions, but I don't think that should mean he should be banned permanently. I think he should have a limit on how often he can attack and things like that, but I believe he should be able to have at least one more chance. I don't see what he did wrong.
It was not only the attacking the faction, though, it was the fact that he was harassing the players as well. Because he was creating personal attacks on the people in our faction, and it was completely uncalled for and unnecessary and very hurtful to some of the people that were being insulted and attacked.
I actually think most of the personal attacking was coming from Jack, just to point that out. As he pointed out himself, Legend was doing... he, in fact, did not have a primary role in many of these, even though he's the one that we're attacking. We're discussing him now because Jack's ban is permanent and either not up for discussion or not likely to be changed. But Jack was doing most... Well, as we put... I posted on the Facebook group. There we go, not up for discussion. Jack was the one, undesirables, remove them from the earth, that sort of stuff. So that was, I think, where most of the excessive, that sort of thing was coming from. But, gotcha.
If I could get a word in here real quick. Is my mic working? Hello?
Yeah, it works.
Oh, okay. Just to cut this short, because we've been talking about Legend here for quite a while. Long story short, for the most part, everyone is agreeing that he should be given another chance. He has griefed a lot. He has caused a lot of trouble and turmoil. Wow, fail. But for the most part, you agree that he should be allowed back on the server. However, be watched very closely is basically what everyone's saying to wrap this up.
I feel that he will not have self-regulation because he's shown in the past that he cannot self-regulate his actions, and so that he's going to have to be forced into some regulation of his behavior. And that's why I strongly recommend that he's put into a peaceful faction.
How about a peaceful faction temporarily?
If he is put into a peaceful faction temporarily, then once he gets out of it, he's only going to start attacking people again.
As long as he follows the rules, that's perfectly fine. Which harassment would be the rule at the time, because we're going to be putting that in by the end of this chat.
Personally, I think he should be able to own his own, peaceful faction, because he's a good leader, even though he is a griefer, but good leadership, and if he does a faction and he can't attack anyone, he's proved to be a good leader. It's just leading in a bad way.
I beg to differ with you. Because
the last time
when Legend has coerced people into doing things, and I'm, good or bad leader, I don't know about that, but that's not really the point here. I just feel that he cannot do self-regulation, Jack. He's not at that point. And that's why I strongly recommend that he's put in a peaceful faction with someone who can mentor him and then, possibly let him out of there at some point in the future and see, give him a test run and see if he can do it. But then with the understanding that, he's got to follow the rules.
As I said, he should be allowed back on, but be watched closely to summarize this.
Yeah, and Boggs offered to make a separate peaceful faction just to reinitiate Legend Crafter back onto the server. Because I want to make sure that Legend Crafter understands the rule before he's let back on. Because, as before, he clearly doesn't have a good grasp when it comes to rules. Because I made that server build rule because he did take something from a server build. And there was no rule about that before, so as a result I made a rule and then he still broke it. So I want to make sure that he clearly understands the rules if he wants to keep playing.
I think, like I said, he had been operating within the parameters until now, just within the attacks and everything, discussing whether that was harassment. But I think two, final things that I'd like to point out is that he needs to understand consequences of his actions, I think is the biggest thing in my opinion. In the past, he consistently blames himself, he blames other people for things that occur, that are bad for him. For example, factions attack him because he attacks factions, not the other way around. So I think that that's really his biggest problem right now. But and then the second thing that I wanted to mention was that he doesn't exactly have a history of peaceful. I mean, whoever's fault it was, whether it was coercion or whatever, he did use Jack's position in a peaceful faction to manufacture weapons of war, which
No.
in the past. Please, I'm talking. No, thank you.
Oh.
And then furthermore, the first time that he declared, not necessarily like official, like I am in a peaceful faction, but the last time he said, "Hey, let's be at peace," he did the same thing. He used it to rearm himself, and then did the exact same thing that he did beforehand. So, until now, his tendency, in the case of being peaceful, has been, well, this is an excellent time to become strong again, and it hasn't really changed any of his ways. So, I'm not sure how effective it'll be, but it might be a good thing to try once more.
Just want to point out that it was my actions, and I processed the TNT for myself that Legend helped make the cannons for. I built the cannons for my sole purpose to annihilate Scopsy. Legend had no part in me and Cresselit and all that stuff. That was all my actions. He didn't order me to do that. I wanted to do that myself.
Yes, but you also invaded our castle. You were walking around our castle and exploring the perimeter, and when I tried to attack you because you were obviously invading our castle, you were still in Cresselit and you were in a peaceful faction, and there was nothing that I could do about it.
And furthermore, you told me in person, Les requested 7 stacks of TNT from me. I don't know if I'm going to make it or not. You told me that on Skype and on Minecraft. That's where I got my information from. I got it from you. So if you'd like to rescind that statement, go ahead.
True, I did say that, but in reality, he did request it, but I wasn't getting it for him as much as I was getting it for myself.
Yes, but you were allied with him in the attack. By getting it for yourself, you were getting it for him too, and he told you to make it.
I was getting it for the cause. He told me to make it, but again, I was making it for myself, because I have a little personal vendetta against what's it called? Scopsy right now.
So can we just say that in the very ending of this discussion then, perhaps we can end it now and just say that, therefore, from now, how about we unban him, and with this harassment rule in effect, and then as soon as he comes in, he goes into a peaceful faction controlled by Boggs for a specified period of time.
Yes, I agree with that.
Are we all good?
He should be banned if he violates the rules, so.
Agreed, obviously. Anyone should be banned, including myself or anyone in this chat, except for Pat, probably. If they break a rule, they're banned.
Alright, and just so everyone's clear about this chat, we're trying to make, sort of finalized decisions now, but it is going to be posted on YouTube, and so people have more time to comment on it, and later there's going to be an in-person, official ranked members meeting where a bunch of us are going to try to get together and discuss all these topics over dinner or something. So in order to keep the discussion going, I think it's good that we can move on. I think we have a pretty good idea about what's going to happen with Legend Crafter. He's more than likely going to be let back on the server, but under strict restrictions, or just under a good watch, because he has shown to be disobedient in a way. And hopefully this doesn't last too long. Oh. Excuse me. So the next thing on the agenda list is I think it's about peaceful factions interacting with non-peaceful factions. So anybody who doesn't have anything really big to talk about that requires voice chat, can you please stop broadcasting?
I think I'm good for at least now then, so I'll talk to you guys later if it if I so need to.
Alright, thank you. That way, so it cuts down on the lag. I'm going to make up...
I was just going to say, I'm going to stop broadcasting as well, because really just listen and not have much more to say. And if I do, I'll do it through the chat or log back on, and that way it'll free you up a bit. Thanks again for allowing me to speak my mind.
Alright. So what's next is peaceful factions interacting with non-peaceful factions. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry for my voice.
It's okay.
So, the big thing is, should we restrict peaceful factions from doing certain actions that will more than likely result in a form of helping of war? Like, say, Rob makes a bunch of TNT to supply George so he can blow up Scopsy again or something like that. I mean, I'm just using examples, because Rob's in a peaceful faction, George is not in a peaceful faction, and George likes to blow stuff up.
My opinion on this is, I think they should be allowed because, well, it's not really their faction doing the work, and, you know, they don't really know what they use the TNT for, and if they do, what's it matter? As long as they're not leaving their faction and rejoining a million times, I think they can have other factions do things for them. Hey, George.
Hello.
I personally think that, like, if a peaceful faction is producing, if they're producing stuff like TNT or other weapons or something. Sorry, George, hold on a second. If they're producing stuff like that and giving it to a malicious faction or person, then I don't think that it's fair. You can go, George.
No, I'm thinking about what you said about peaceful factions supplying TNT. Well, I rarely actually use TNT if I attack a faction. I rarely use TNT. But right now, Andrew Boggs and I have been using TNT a lot for blast mining because it's a lot quicker and doesn't use as much material. But the thing is, it's hard to get a lot of gunpowder. Even digging up gravel, it still takes time.
Yeah.
And Rob, because Rob is actually one of my many suppliers of TNT, he makes a lot of TNT, and I give him enchanted tools because I kill dragons, although Pat needs to spawn some more. It depends. Maybe a limited amount of like TNT. Like, I don't know, like a quarter stack a week. But actually, I don't think it should be limited. Unless the peaceful faction is ordering somebody to attack for them.
Well, I'm just thinking, as far as a peaceful faction interacting with a non-peaceful faction, if the non-peaceful faction is asking for materials that it would appear to be used for any type of battle, if you know the peaceful if the non-peaceful faction is enemies with someone, and you know that they're going to be attacking them, and they ask for TNT or some diamonds that would probably be used for armor, that peaceful factions shouldn't be trading with them.
I can see where you're getting with that, but let's say I'm peaceful, which will never happen. But let's say I'm peaceful, and I have no beef with anyone. Oh, that's the way now. I have no beef with any faction on the server. And I supply... Wait, no, take out the peaceful. Take it now. I supply a faction with raw material because I get paid. Why should I be what's the word? Punished for doing trade? If I wanted to give Scopsy a stack of TNT so they could go after... Oh, crap. Winter. Why would I get punished?
Well, you're not a peaceful faction, and neither are we.
Well, what? Okay. If I was peaceful and I give you a stack of TNT, knowing what you were going to use it for, why would I get attacked?
Because, I think peaceful factions on the server should be just that. They should be peaceful. They shouldn't be interacting with other factions if it's going to result in giving them an upper hand.
Well, you can use that to start with no trading of logs, because you can make those into planks and sticks. No trading of iron, diamond, gunpowder, sand, flint, feathers. I can keep going. Lava buckets, water buckets. Severely limit what people can trade.
I kind of see where George is coming with this. I mean, you can be peaceful, but still have, like, support of another faction. There's no way we can stop that. And even if it was against the rules, then we'd have to shut down every peaceful faction ever because of all the different members they have. I mean, I know I've personally gotten things from every peaceful faction that I've probably used to do some stupid things. I'm sure George has, because me and him are pretty similar. And,
yeah.
I mean, there's no way you can limit that. Even if you did, then half the people on the server are going to be banned.
Yeah, and even then, how are you going to track it? There's no way you can watch every single person every second to see what they're doing.
Yeah, I think the point which I was trying to get about this is just people that are in charge of peaceful factions, if they can try to make sure that their members aren't going against, like, peaceful ways. Because I know, yeah, logs can lead to this, which can lead to that, but just overall, if you know a faction is planning an attack or going to do an attack, peaceful factions shouldn't have a part of that. I mean, even if they are trying to trade and get supplies, if those supplies are more than likely going to lead to war, then I think they should just be, they shouldn't trade. And there wouldn't be a rule about it, and there's no way to really monitor it. It's just a kind of like a moral guideline I'd like to be established on the server.
Well, what are peaceful factions supposed to do? I mean, they're basically the industry of the server, no matter which way you look at it. They produce everything for everybody. I haven't really seen any faction but a peaceful faction establishing trade or doing things like that. And I think it should be allowed as long as they're not personally saying, hey, I want you to destroy this faction. They should be able to give the materials to whoever they want for whatever use. As long as they're not the one directing the attack, having other factions attack.
Yeah, I agree with Ethan, because, okay, the only faction I've seen that's been able to produce and be non-peaceful, mind you, on a very large scale was my faction, and that's because at the time I was living about 20,000 blocks from spawn. I now live 73,000 blocks from spawn. Sorry, and before banned for crashing the server. But my isolation was the only way I could do things because I had no fear of getting attacked. Peaceful factions don't have that problem. They can be right next to spawn and never have to worry about being stolen from or being raided. And so they can just stockpile massive amounts of things with no fear of losing it. And I'm gonna admit, when I was in creds, I did my only main trade was with James Hokedale. Oh, Hoddle. Sorry, James. Carlos, I want to see that. I want to see that cannon. I'll log on later and you can show me the design, because that's interesting.
Just to get my 2 cents in, what you guys are saying about tracking peaceful factions trading, I can. What's a peaceful faction offhand? If James Silver wanted to trade Puppetron a stack of TNT for a stack of diamond, even if they didn't say anything in chat, if I was watching them, I didn't have to be logged in. I could tell you right now, I could go into Hawkeye and see Puppetron drop X amount of diamonds, and James Sylvie drop X amount of TNT, and I could see both of them, item pickup and item drop. Everything is recorded with Hawkeye. Do you have any idea, though, how much a pain that would be? So, as this, and move on to the next subject, like Pat was saying earlier, it should be up to the peaceful faction's leaders to keep track of their faction members and if we find them, there's no ban, there's no kicking, there's no warning. I don't have to know where to Hawkeye Kyle X. I could Hawkeye your name and see every item you ever dropped for the last month. Back to what I was saying. To get on to the next subject. I completely just lost my train of thought. It should just be up to the faction leaders. And if we find, again, what Tron was saying, I think peaceful factions should be able to trade whatever they want. However, if we can go back in the chat with Hawkeye or whatever and check and see that James Silver was like, hey Puppetron, here's 3 stacks of TNT, go destroy and blow the crap out of X faction, then we should unpeaceful them. Nothing else, just unpeaceful him. The end. It's fairly black and white in that regards. If they're trading TNT, whatever. If they're trading TNT and saying, hey, go murder them. Go blow up that faction. They lose peaceful. The end. That's my 2 cents.
Alright.
I agree with Kyle, but before you unpeaceful the entire faction, tell the faction leader what's going on so they can kick them. Actually, I'm pretty sure an admin could kick them from that faction. I know you can disband factions at will, and I know you can FP for them at will. Period.
Alright, so my biggest thing is, if you're a peaceful faction, like Kyle said, you should act like it. Don't be trying to antagonize things. Don't try to attack people through other people that aren't in peaceful factions. And I just wanted to make sure that peaceful factions remain peaceful.
Joseph, that's a very good point. If people have like a peaceful account and then one for attacking, but I think it's like as long as there's no interaction between those two factions, it's fine. Like James Sylvie and one of his alternates. I know James had there we go, Crescent Winter. As long as there's like no trade or anything between those two, I think it's fine. And all James Sylvie has to do is dump all of his stuff and creds and save.
I don't use Crestlight for safety. When I play as Annihilator, I don't use Crestlight at all. I stay away from Crestlight.
Dealing with that, every time you get on, your IP gets logged. I have about 400 IPs written down right now with names linked to them, so when people get on and do something stupid. The only time I would IP ban someone is if they were hacking. If James Sylvie gets on Annihilator and attacks Faction X 400 times when he's told not to, I would, repeatedly, repeat offense, it's like, okay, dude, enough, stop attacking these people. And he attacked him again, I would ban Annihilator. I would not IP ban Annihilator. I would only ban that account. The only time we IP ban is if you're hacking.
I'm down for that.
I completely forgot what we're talking about.
We were talking about interaction between peaceful and non-peaceful.
Oh, okay.
I have a subject to talk about, and that is like a new rank. I posted it on the forums, and I don't know if anybody responded to it.
Go ahead and talk about it. Because I think we're done with the peaceful faction stuff, so go ahead and talk about your new rank suggestion.
It's basically what Mikey had, like he's unopt, but he has, he can kick, he can temp ban for, I think it's a month, I'm not sure on that. Kick, mute, temp ban, Hawkeye, save zone, well, all the stuff that goes along with save zone, in a zone. I think that, well, maybe, oh, and chat spy.
What was that? What was that last one, Sean?
Chat spy. It allows you to, it allows you to see what everybody said.
It's not just chat spy. There's quite a few commands for that. You just described mod, just so you know.
Yeah, with the exception of chat spy.
Not an opt mod, but an unopt mod. Like, Mike talked about. That's what I want. That's what I've been trying to go for like the last month. Either me or Alex Branson, because him and I are up when nobody else is.
With the exception of social spy, you just described mod, and Pat's gonna have to back this, but I'm 99% sure you probably won't give private chat seeing abilities to anyone, because that could be very easily abused.
Yeah, I can see where that could be abused fairly easily. If somebody says they're going to attack your faction, you have advanced warning.
Yeah, which is why I only entrust like that kind of command with the admins.
What about combining police and SM into one rank? Kick, mute, and then the safe zone stuff. Just combine that.
Are you suggesting creating a new rank with both powers?
Yeah. Slash kick, slash mute, and the safe zone stuff.
So, is there a way to make, like, temp mutes?
I don't think so.
I'll get on and check right now. I do not know if mute has a time limit.
I'm like 90% sure it doesn't.
I mean, personally, I'm on the server a lot when there's not like admins or any police on, but I get there's a lot of spammers and stuff that come on maybe like 10 minutes, and just spam the crap out of the thing, and no, we can't do anything but ignore them. But is there a way we can create a very, very minimal rank, like more minimal than police, that can just have slight kicking of powers or things like that?
Or you could add it to police and SM.
Because, I mean, I feel like we have enough higher ranked people, and they get on when they need to, but, I mean, we do have the slight spammers and slight minuscule things that do get on the server, which are quite annoying to some players.
Yes, it is very annoying, and not everybody ignores the chat. They have to keep doing that like, multiple times. It gets old after a while. So add it to police and SM.
Excuse me real quick. Correction on that, you can mute people for periods of time.
So, could we by chance create like a lower police rank that just has temp mutes? Maybe for like 5-10 minutes for the occasional spammers and people who are just on patrol and stuff like that?
You cannot limit /mute to 5 minutes. You have it or you don't. And if you have /mute, you /mute space James J. Hohattle 10 years.
But then you'd have to add a new rank, and that's not really a lot to do. And you'd have to have other players do temp mute, even. And we kind of want to limit the people of rank, so it's not as confusing.
I mean, right now, I don't see the huge need for a new rank. I mean, I think the ranks that we have right now are pretty good. I mean, maybe I'll have to look back and see what times people are on and make sure that there's maybe at least one police on at all times or something like that.
I mean, I don't feel like we need a completely new rank, or if we do, have it so it's kind of like a police, but isn't in front of their name. Just people like me, I know I do have a history of doing some stupid things on the server, and people don't really trust me that much, but there is times when I feel it's necessary that I wish I could remove somebody for the sake of others.
Same here is I'm just annoyed the heck out of people. See spam, like even people who are regular, they'll just be spamming the chat, like not going into faction chat or ally chat. My chat gets blown up. It takes half my screen up because it types so fast and it does interference. It's like warn them, and Mike is awesome. And I think like they should be warned to stop and then muted. But add mute to police and SM because adding a new rank is just gonna make it more confusing.
But I mean, it's not even the people on the server. you can go into your own chat and disable everybody else. And I know you can do that, but it's things like the people who get on our server for the first time and then just spam the F word for 10 minutes straight, and all you can do is ignore them. But a lot of the newer people who get on our server and are actually interested, they still have to see that kind of stuff, which turns them away. Because I noticed that happened today, and I was pretty ticked off about it. I couldn't do anything but mute them or kill them, but they're still just going to continue to troll and things like that. I'm not saying we need a new rank that's broadcast to everybody. I'm just saying we need people who have the power, that have been longtime members. You know, it doesn't have to be me, things like that, but who can limit the amount of spam and trolls on the server. Like, not constant and slightly monitored by the higher up mods and stuff like that, so they don't, you know, abuse their powers, but something to prevent stupid people from being on all the time.
You just think there should be more police, in other words?
Yes, but they don't necessarily have to have that rank.
Well, why have the power if not the rank?
Yeah, I was about to say, I mean, all police can really do is kick people and do Hawkeye checks.
Yeah.
Well, should we get a nerfed police without the Hawkeye?
Again, add in a new rank. You should try to keep it as simple as possible, not add like 10,000 different ranks. I've seen servers like that, and it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, I don't want that many ranks.
I think instead of trying to make a new rank, we should try to edit the existing ones, especially server maintenance and police. Mod and admin are pretty much, yeah. But I cannot tell you how many times I'm on
George?
The last thing I heard, besides Pat saying George, was him saying every time I'm on or something, I cut him.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think George is gone.
Today we gathered to celebrate the life of George. He was kind of raging drunk.
I'll get free ice cream.
No.
Only in his memory, Ethan.
But Teammate Evo loves ice cream.
Insert Latin prayer here.
Vini Vici right now.
We can all watch the YouTube video of Kyle playing Amnesia.
But, I think maybe what George was going after is maybe like a sub-mod rank where it is the combined powers of SM and police, which I was thinking about, like just making SM police and the current SM status like together. Welcome back, George.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Like, all users went silent and it froze up, so I had to refresh. I agree, and I volunteered myself to test out the new rank, but what would it be named? Or would we just keep it SM? Ow.
I don't know what it would be named, but I mean,
let's keep it server maintenance just to not introduce a new rank. And we get the powers of police and mute.
I don't really see what's wrong with the higher up ranks as it is now. I mean, we don't really have that much enforcing going on. and the few guys we do have are pretty good, but I think we could use a few more who are on at odd times. I don't think we need a whole new ranking system added in. The mods do their job perfectly, and the police do theirs perfectly. And I think the only people who have any problems are the ones without rank, who want it. I mean,
yeah. Well, I was going to say that, sorry, my voice is going now too. Gertie put forward that our different ranks might be best to address different issues. For example, one for swearing, one for battling, that sort of thing. Safe zoning, that sort of stuff. And that's part of the reason why I like having separate server maintenance and police. Server maintenance is sort of the kind of person who would be in a peaceful faction, the kind of person who's really into building and who's interested in repairing the server, keeping it looking nice. Police, on the other hand, is more dealing with people who are causing issues, and so that's really the difference. Server maintenance are dealing with server as in Minecraft, blocks in Minecraft. Police are dealing with people who are causing problems, and that's why they have both Hawkeye and kicking ability. So I think it's interesting and important that we keep those separate.
James, I see your viewpoint of server maintenance, but I'm server maintenance, and I see it as I have to make sure the server itself, not just the block around spawn, but everybody is doing good. I basically take the duties of police as well. I know I shouldn't, but when nobody else is on to follow the rules, I try. I can't really do much. Crap, lost my train of thought. But I try to protect the entire server, both the players and the physical part of it. That's why I think that's my definition of server maintenance. So maybe if, again, server maintenance can gain, kick, and mute, stretching this a bit, temp ban for 12 hours until an admin can get on.
Again, we cannot give you temp ban for 12 hours. You either have temp ban, for which you could do temp ban GSK 9-1 20 years, or you can't. There is no in between.
Actually, then how was Mike DeTalto able to ban Legend for 30 days?
I think the max. Yeah, I was going to say is a month. Isn't the max a month for temp ban?
There is no real max. It's just the suggested max is 30 days. But really, you guys can go on and temp ban anybody for 9,999 years.
What's the minimum you can ban someone for?
1 second.
What?
1 second.
Okay. So I could ban somebody for a day if I needed to.
If you had temp ban.
If I had temp ban, I could ban somebody for a certain amount of time until one of you guys got on and was able to.
But what my point was you can't give someone access to only temp ban someone for 12 hours. If they have temp ban, we suggest that they don't do more than 3 days because we would like an admin or someone else to have a look at the situation.
A minimum of 3 days. That would be good. We should also have I'm talking about on the actual server. We should have a rules and punishments guide for to kind of discourage people from doing said things. Maybe we can tell what harassment will do. But we'll brief it aloud.
Pretty soon, I am gonna write a handbook of sorts. I don't know how long it will be, but it will try to just explain all the rules and all possible punishments.
Log on as my name.
And I'd like to make a video tutorial on all the different ranks on the server, as far as what commands can you do, like what you should do when you first log on and all that stuff. But that's for later discussion.
That is a good idea, because it's kind of tedious going through, like, what's the thing? I know there's a command that you can do that'll list all the commands. Is it /help or something like that? Or /list, maybe? But it's kind of tough going through that and testing them all.
Or you could add that said, donor, non-donor, and what you have. And I've seen some servers like that.
Pat, we've gone through this before and done a list of, if someone does this, we do this first, then that, etc. through, a whole bunch of different offenses. But it took forever, I believe. It was like a weekend project. But if we were going to do that again, what we could do was maybe post that to the website, so any of the moderators or admins or police or whatever rank structure can get on and see what they should do if we're going to go through and that again.
Wait, can you kind of say that again? You were like cutting in and out, and my little sister just came in and kind of distracted me.
I'm saying if we're going to make a list of, if someone does this, we do that, for everything imaginable. If we do that, we could put it on the website so that anyone with authority who needs to see what to do can go on there and see it.
Yeah. I need to figure out, I don't know if we saved that document. I'll have to look through all my files and see if I can find it. But I will, if I find that, I'll post it. If not, I'll try to remember everything that we discussed about before and and make sure that it's saved and publicly available.
I believe it was a Google document at one point. I don't know if it was saved or not, but...
Well, if it was a Google document, I should have it saved. It's just a matter of finding it. Oh.
What's the next topic now?
What?
Could we explain the new rank of what SM and police should gain instead of getting a new rank, making a new one?
Right now, I think police and SMs are going to remain the same. I mean, we'll talk about it maybe later, because this meeting has been going on for about 2 hours, and I'm about to lose my voice. So I want to kind of wrap this up shortly.
Okay, Kyle at just said promotions.
How about this? Not talk about it, just comment on the YouTube video. Bob wants to be mod. Kyle, or Max wants to be mod.
No.
Concrete wants to be police. George wants to be mod. And I don't know what else. I mean, I think I'll talk about that later. I think that can be saved for another day.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's a section for promotions on the website that you can request for. CorruptedMC. Check it out.
Yeah.
Well, my thread kind of died because nobody responded to it, and I don't feel like bumping it again.
You don't have to bump it. We'll go through and look at it and I plan on deleting all the old posts that have already been completed in the request approve.
Yeah. Go to apply for police.
Like Pat said, we will be going through it soon and getting rid of all of the applications that have already been promoted.
Alright, so let's move on to the next thing. Events. I've been looking at different ways to run the server, and I saw like one person that runs the server say that it's kind of wrong that to give away donation perks that improve gameplay rather than just add like fancy stuff like kitty cannon. So what I plan on doing is making it so we hold maybe a monthly event, and whoever completes the monthly event or whatever like that, they can get donation perks until the next event is hosted. That way people can't slam the server about being unfair when it comes to the donation perks. So anybody can receive them.
That sounds like a good idea to me.
That sounds good.
So if you guys, have any ideas for events, since most of you guys have already donated and probably don't care as much for the events, if you can shoot some ideas towards me or Mikey, since he said he wants to try to be the event coordinator.
Well, I have one, but it's going to take a really long time because I do not want to do this in creative and spawned items. I want to do this legit. I want to make a giant portion of the map, and I do mean giant, at least 2,000 blocks, and make it an adventure, like a huge adventure, like a dungeon.
Alright. Well, the events, what we do, can be discussed later, but I just wanted to kind of just shoot that idea to everybody, saying that pretty soon we're going to host events on the server to promote donations, and so people can get donations, like the donation perks, without having to actually donate.
Okay. That sounds pretty good. Or we could have people make friends like me, like, okay, what if no? Like, right now, I have about enough money right now to give 4 people a donut. Matt, a donut. And I have nothing to do with this money other than the server. So we could either have it server run, or we could have like it individually run, but have the people donate funds. Like how Donovan gave me donuts. Way back when. That was back in Scopsy. But they wouldn't be easy events. They'd be kind of difficult.
Alright. I just want to clarify this. Everybody that donated before, they keep their donation perks, and donation perks will be kept forever. If you donate, you get the perks forever.
That's cool. Is there any way somebody could abuse donut and lose it? Oh, Trevor.
I mean,
Are you talking
not
about back
really.
specifically?
Well, back, spawn, just teleport away, ring. I'm just going to say this specific example, Legend. He would abuse his power.
So you're saying lose it as a punishment, not lose it because it was requested to be lost. That's what it kind of sounded like at first.
And there's a plugin that keeps you logged on for 15 seconds after you log off, and it's designed for PvP. Like if you try to log off when you're losing, you stay logged in for 15 seconds, so you kind of have to fight. That'd be, in my opinion, that'd be a fun little addition. I'll find the plugin somewhere. But those are the few plugins I found on MC bands. After, yeah. Crap. I need to learn how to type. A few anti-cheat plugins that I found that I'd like the server to have. I'm gonna just paste the site in the chat. So they have Do It Concrete. It's worth it, especially for scavenging.
Figuring I'm recording the chat and everything, I can't look at the link right now.
Okay. Well, they have three. They have three plugins. They have a scan, which is player scan, and what that does, it's like TPA, but you don't have to ask. They can admin TP. They have anti-spam and the one that's really good is an anti-nuker plugin that I found. That no nuker worked on the server.
I sort of lost track of what you're talking about.
On our server, the nuker mod that's in most hack clients works, and I was on the server because I got banned, and one of the plugins they have is anti-mass delete, which blocks like all the nukers. So it'll help stop notice, because it'll stop nuker, creative nuker, click nuker, and fast break.
We don't have to worry about creative nuker anyway because no one has creative. And I tried nuker on our server and it did not work for me.
Well, I forget his name because it had like numbers and underscores in it, but the first part was Luke. As soon as he logged on, I saw that he was able to use nuker on leaves. I also wanted to ban him immediately, but I couldn't.
I think this discussion kind of just like just went out there because we were talking about events because of donation perks, and now we're talking about anti-ban stuff. So
now what are we talking about?
James he has a plugin idea that he wants to propose, so I'll let him take the floor.
Thanks. Alright, so my idea involves back. Basically, it's been said before that using back, especially in warfare, well, donator perks in general, but back especially, in warfare is unfair because, especially if the battle's one-sided, where one faction has a lot of members without perks and one has a lot with, it's basically one-sided. There's no way that the people without perks can win. But my idea to sort of help balance the playing field involves back. And basically, I've already written out what the logic would look like for this, and I think it's very plausible. Each time that you trigger a back command, Minecraft would keep track of it, and or the would rather, and it would add like a count to a ticker. So as time goes on, the ticker would down, and you would be able to go back more frequently. But basically, what I'm trying to get to is each time you go back, if you do it frequently, the radius of coordinates which you go back to would increase. So if you back like 5 times within 5 minutes, not a cooldown necessarily, but if you back several times within a couple of minutes, the radius would slowly grow. It would get less and less accurate. Instead of going right back, you would go back, but maybe first it would be 2 coordinates away, then 4, then 9, then 16. Eventually, you'd be 144 away. It becomes impractical. You have to take a break. It makes it a little bit more fair for people who don't have it, so that way the battle's a little bit more even and a little bit better balanced.
I started plugging rollback, and it kind of makes it's kind of simpler than going to random coordinates after a while. And what you have to do is like once you hit /back, like, you can't move, or /spawn or F home or any of those, any teleportation. There's a 3-second delay where you cannot move. You are not allowed to move at all, and then it'll do it. And that's really good, like, if you're gonna fight and you start losing, and you try to back, you can't move for 3 seconds, or the teleportation is cancelled.
I don't know if you guys were watching the chat, but Kyle X just put something very interesting in there. If you were /backing to where you're attacking, and with an excellent idea by James O'Haddle, if there was a plugin that did that, it skewed your back location, off X amount of blocks, which increased every time. You could get into places, for instance, that you wouldn't normally have been able to get into because you're basically teleporting to a random location, So that could be bad. And what George was saying, I've been on servers that had what George was saying, the countdown from when you do a command to when it actually works, and if you move at all, it cancels it. That would be good, I think. That would be better of the two, because there could be a lot of problems with the other one.
Or it could glitch and put you into a wall, make you suffocate.
There are systems on Minecraft. So when you teleport, it checks what block you're in, and if you're in a block that would suffocate you, it'll move you automatically. But that's...
It doesn't always work. Trust me, I know.
Well, I'm just saying.
Are you thinking that we could potentially do the same thing as in if you teleported back and it was a faction-owned block, then you wouldn't be able to teleport there and it would pick new coordinates?
Yeah, that you cannot teleport into an enemy faction. Because you can't use back. You can't use back, F home, or any teleportation command while you are in enemy territory.
Yeah, but if you're killed, you can /back right back into it. That's what James O'Haddle is arguing.
So do you think that either if they try to use /back, should it A, teleport them right outside the faction, B, not teleport them at all and give them a heads up saying, hey, you're trying to teleport into an enemy faction, you're not allowed? Or C, should it require some type of cooldown.
I don't think you should be able to teleport into an enemy faction at all.
I can't hear a word you said.
Does anyone think that we should just get rid of /back altogether?
No.
I'm not saying that. I'm just throwing it out there to see what you guys think. That's all.
My vote's for no on that because I enjoy just, oh, I got blown up by a creeper, but I was in a tunnel and now it's lost forever. Oh, wait, /back. I like it for that purpose.
I agree. Did anyone see what Mikey just put in the chat? Because I kind of agree with that. Is that possible?
I'm sure it is, maybe. But, I mean, I don't know. Because, I mean, like, what if you're... Well, then again, if you have /back, you have scavenger, so... Alright, let's hear what Kyle has to say, and then I'm probably going to wrap up this recording. I mean, we can still talk afterwards, but it just won't be officially recorded.
If you want to say something, now's the time, Kyle X. Just type your thoughts in the chat real quick.
Hello?
Hello?
My internet crashed.
I still think that not being able to use /back if you were killed by PvP is still the best way to go about the /back problem.
I'll say, so far, the only thing that I really see is /back into a faction territory enemy.
What if somebody trying to get that? Let's say somebody goes into an enemy faction. So, let's say, okay, let's do Earth Engineer, Claymore, and Solitude. Let's say I get Solitude to teleport in the RS Engineer as neutral, and I TP to them while I'm enemy to RS Engineer. Would that... Do you think that would work?
Yes.
I don't think it would.
Yeah, that would work.
So if somebody's... Okay, let's say somebody has a lot of tenacity, and they go after me. They make it to me. 73,000 blocks from spawn. I kill them, any of my faction members kill them. Slash back after me. Bring it on! Okay, so you already did that once. Like, I'm not in the rape. Like a band.
Focus. We're almost done.
Yeah, we're almost done here. They would have to travel 73,000 blocks to get to me again. So, that makes me happy.
I guess after hearing that, I guess what Pat was saying sounds better. Not being able to slash back into an enemy territory. If you're in the wilderness though, it's free game.
Well, didn't Pat say if you're killed by PvP, you can't slash back?
No, that's what Mikey said.
Aww. I really... Not being able to slash back into if you're killed by PvP is not that bad for most factions, but I know Kyle is about 25,000 from spawn, and I'm over 50,000 from spawn. Wait, is that I hack? Oh no. That is not to be discussed. Okay. Not being able to TP into enemy factions. Yeah, I agree with that.
So we know what we want, it's just a matter of finding a plugin that can do it. So what's the next subject then?
I think that's about it. I mean, that's all I had on the agenda. If anybody had any closing remarks about anything for the future of CorruptedMC, please say them if you want.
Well, the only thing I have to say is a small matter, and that's dragons. It can be it's no way to spawn Ender Dragons every so often.
If I can find a plugin or make a plugin that was that can reset the end, I will, or something like that. I mean, I just have to look into that.
Yeah, we log on like once a day and spawn your Ender Dragons. No red velvet cake.
So, any more remarks besides Red Velvet Cake, which will be not for a little while?
In some way, they spawn Ender Dragons every so often, so people can get SB easily.
That won't be a mandatory thing by anybody. It's just whenever the admins can get on. I mean, we always spawn them and everything. It's just a matter of finding an automated way. I'll try to look up something and try to see if I can do anything about that.
Or, how about resetting the end, because it's pretty...
No. I'm just waiting until James Sylvie mines all the end stone, and then I'll be making like a bedrock platform. So, no end resetting.
Denied.
Can we remake the casual spawn out of a legit material? I really want to do it, but I can't edit.
How about this? You're SM, correct?
Yeah, but I cannot edit spawn.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Do this. You safe zone the same amount of chunks within 100 blocks. Build what you want there. I'll use World Edit and copy and paste it there, and we'll get rid of the spawn materials if that's okay with Pat.
Yeah, that's fine if we approve of his new design.
That's it. Thank you. I'll get right on it. I'll go into single player though. Get the design down.
Kyle, that's because I'm sick and my throat's like killing me.
Some tea. Drink tea, that'll help.
Anything else server related that we need to discuss before Pat goes and passes out?
Yeah, I seriously need to get a drink soon, so anything else?
I'm taking that as a no.
Yeah, I'm taking that as a huge no.
Thanks for coming to the meeting, guys.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. I'll be uploading this really shortly. I just need to cut out the beginning of the video and of like some BS stuff, and I should be able to post the link on the website within hopefully an hour. Alright, so I hope all you have a good night and enjoy chatting on here. Make sure to check out CorruptedMC.net for the link to the video. So have a good day or night, whatever.